From the fast action of the trading pit to the power brokers making the headlines, you'll hear it all on the Traders Network Show with your host, Michael Yorba.
All right.
Michael interviews the front page titans about the latest in trading tools and market trends in stocks, commodities, bonds, forex, and derivatives. The Traders Network helps you stay ahead of the curve and delivers tomorrow's trade today.
Yeah.
Now, here's your host, Michael Yorba.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. Broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Media Studios and worldwide through yorbamedia.com. All right, we have Chris Rosgen, founder and CEO, Capital Markets Luminary, and publisher of the Capital Markets Report, on the show with us. Chris, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You know, we didn't quite finish our conversation last time you were on with Dr. Kammer, and I wanted to see if we could pick that up and, really pick it up from where we left off and finish the conversation.
Absolutely. So the last time we spoke, we had brought a company to the attention of your listeners by the name of BioLays. Ticker symbol is BIOL. It trades on the NASDAQ, and BioLays is most famous for pioneering painless laser dentistry using a technology known as WaterLays. WaterLays is what I look for in terms of my investment methodology. It's a platform technology. So in my research, I'm looking for disruptors, the disruptive technology that sets new standards. And I've somewhat become a patient's right advocate in terms of my research and communicating this to the public. So today I'm here to talk to you specifically about some of the risks when you go to the dentist's office and the risks in terms of potentially cross-contamination. Now, today we face a threat that could go to a pandemic level with reference to Ebola. And the potential for cross-contamination between patients in a dental operatory is actually very real, and it's a widely documented risk. So WaterLays technology in particular has a potential to reduce this risk. What I mean by that is, if you look at some of the research, dental drills are actually potentially a hazardous source of cross-contamination. The facts of the matter is 15% of sterilized burrs and up to 76% of sterilized endodontic files carry pathogenic microorganisms. So what's interesting is these complex burr surfaces are actually very difficult to clean. Even after going through an 8-step process, autoclaving can actually fail to completely decontaminate the burrs, as well as these endodontic files. Well, what's an endodontic file? Well, it's used in surgery for the treatment of root canals. And what's interesting is the WaterLays technology can actually eliminate all of these risks. What's sad to me in terms of a patient's right advocate as a family man and somebody who looks to identify new standards is the actual dental industry itself, I believe, is practicing substandard care. And what I mean by that is only 5% of the U.S. dentists are utilizing the latest in laser technology. WaterLays in particular was FDA cleared to treat both hard tissue and soft tissue. So in terms of painless dentistry, in terms of reducing cross-contamination, this is the solution. Patients no longer need to get a shot when they go to the dentist for cavity preps. They no longer need to be exposed to these potential pathogens that, again, a 76% chance of a sterilized endodontic file. So let's say we're at a contagion level where somebody walks into the dental office, they've got flu symptoms, but they don't know that they have Ebola. And they go in and they get a root canal. Well, that endodontic file now has a 76% chance of carrying a pathogenic microorganism or a virus. WaterLays can kill those viruses. It's antivirucidal, it's antifungal, it's antibactericidal. So this is a technology that, in terms of advancing a new standard of care, there's no better time for the dental industry to actually step up and recognize this is the technology that they should be using.
Now, I think in a conversation we had the other day, there's more to it than this, because it's not just focused on the dental office. I mean, there are other medical applications for this tool.
This is true. WaterLays is actually a platform technology. So what's interesting is this is a technology. So what I look for, again, is I'm actually looking for the next Intuitive Surgical. If you're familiar with that company, They pioneered the robotic surgery, which is now standard of care. It's received Medicare reimbursement, insurance code reimbursement. But this was a company that used to trade for between $6 and $12. What's interesting to note is the co-founder of Intuitive Surgical actually sits on the board of directors for BioLays. And when you think about their trading history in the past, what was interesting is they started out in cardiothoracic surgery, where they actually had pushback from that industry. It wasn't necessarily becoming a standard of care because those doctors were very set in their way. What happened was a brilliant urological surgeon recognized it could potentially reduce the risk in prostate cancer surgery in a total prostatectomy, where they could snip the nerve and lead to impotency, as well as incontinence. So once it became the new standard of care, that stock went from $6 to $600. Actually went from $6 to $90. Then it got Medicare reimbursement, went from $90 to $600. I'm looking for companies like that. BioLays fits that model because they have a disruptive platform technology. So what I can tell you today is they have applied for a number of different FDA clearances. So I see a lot of different catalysts in terms of its potential to disrupt the market in a number of different fields. So, for example, there's a doctor, Joseph Crespi, he's out of, I apologize, Dr. Joseph Crespi, he's an ENT surgeon, and he's researching the technology for use in sleep apnea. And he believes it actually could be a new standard of care as an alternative to the CPAP for people that are unwilling to wear it or can't wear it, because it can actually treat the hard tissue abnormalities of the soft palate and the soft tissue as well. So if you go to my research at capitalmarketreport.com, there's a presentation that talks about preventative medicine and treating the root cause of disease and chronic disorders. I recommend all of your listeners to go and download this research, because this is a medical breakthrough. So even though they're best known for pioneering painless laser dentistry, they have actually, they're conducting right now further clinical evaluations to support efficacy claims in the fields of dentistry, periodontics, dermatology, ENT, ophthalmology, podiatry, general surgery, and wound healing. Now this is interesting because Waterlays actually seems to stimulate, from my research, it seems to stimulate the body's own immune system to get the body to heal. I'll give you a prime example. And this applies to other areas of the body. That's what the research is going for. That's why I believe this is a threshold technology capable of advancing new standards of care based on these clinical benefits that Waterlays enable. It's the delivery mechanism itself. It's literally the power of water and light. And that water and light operates at a certain wavelength to kill the bacteria, to help the body to heal. So in obstructive sleep apnea, that's a chronic disorder. And that's something, when you look at what it does in terms of affecting your health, it's actually quite frightening.
How can water and light affect your sleep? I mean, how does it heal this apnea?
Well, so what they're going to do, when you have obstructive sleep apnea, there's a risk of congestive heart failure, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, coronary artery disease, fibromyalgia, diabetes, end-stage renal disease, erectile dysfunction. So snoring at night is actually a killer. And what Dr. Joseph Crespi has done in terms of his research is he's actually in the process of inspecting this technology to treat obstructive sleep apnea. So right now, here's a quote from him. Waterlays has the potential to improve the quality of life for tens of millions of obstructive sleep apnea patients that are unable or unwilling to use a CPAP. Airway obstruction causing obstructive sleep apnea can occur at multiple sites due to hard and soft tissue abnormalities. In my research, the only laser device capable of successfully treating soft and hard tissue obstructions is the Waterlays. BioLays technology can become standard of care and revolutionize laser surgery for the next decade. It has conventional laser tissue effects of precise ablation, coagulation, and char-free cutting. So he's actually he's a MD, and he works at the Center for Sleep Disorders, and he's a professor of clinical otolaryngology at Columbia University. So he's one of the doctors that's experimenting for this technology moving forward. So this is actually pending a number of 510K clearances. These are market catalysts. Once, and I believe actually it's just a matter of time. I don't see it as not being approved from the FDA, because my research shows that it's actually minimally invasive and atraumatic to the tissue. I've had the technology applied literally to remove age spots off of my face. It's painless. So it has applications in terms of dermatology as well.
Is it battle ready? I mean, can you take it out into the battlefield, or is there a huge amount of energy that it takes to use this tool?
So if you were to look at it, it's a box essentially, and it's something that you would find in a dental operatory. Mm-hmm. I believe in time that they'll be able to probably get it down to a size where it could potentially be used. I mean, it's like Star Trek medicine, right? The future of medicine is actually going to be lasers.
Right.
In the future, they will probably no longer use scalpels. This technology can replace the scalpel.
Right. I see. I'm just connecting the dots on the applications of where this could go beyond just in a hospital. It sounds to me like this would be an invaluable tool for in every ambulance.
Yeah, it's definitely an alternative surgical treatment to as opposed to the scalpel. So this actually, when you think about it, if you have obstructive sleep apnea and you have the risk of diabetes, hypertension, erectile dysfunction, and coronary artery disease just from snoring at night, from obstruction, they have now technology, 3D imaging, that can actually identify where that obstruction is. And in time, they'll receive an FDA clearance for this technology. I believe that's one of the major market catalysts that is going to take place for them moving forward. And again, when you look at it, right now they're researching and doing further clinical evaluation to support efficacy claims. So again, dentistry, periodontics. Well, let's talk about the oral systemic connection to disease. When you look at it, it's actually quite frightening. I look at periodontal disease, which actually 8 out of 10 of us face as a gateway disease. So when you think about it, in preventative medicine, if you really want to treat the root cause of disease and chronic disorders, Waterways is a cornerstone medical device for this to take place. So I'm actually proposing a paradigm shift in healthcare, one that incorporates Waterways technology in every operatory. And when you think about it, this is a new standard of care that's capable of reducing healthcare costs. So Blue Cross actually did research in terms of providing periodontal therapy for their insurance, for their patients. Mm-hmm. And what they found is that they were actually able to reduce the costs associated with healthcare. So when we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about diabetic foot ulcers. We're talking about wound care management. We're talking about fetal development issues with mothers that may have periodontal disease. So you think about all these premature babies. Fetal development issue is actually quite significant. We're talking about advancing a new standard of care, and it takes time because these doctors have been trained in a certain way. They were brought up a certain way, and they become set in those ways. So it's actually kind of difficult, especially when you look at dentistry and oral surgery. I'll give you an example. There was a doctor, DMD, portfolio manager, one of the largest institutional investors in BioLays. He had a case of hereditary degenerative gum disease, which means that his teeth, his gum line was actually receding, and his teeth were becoming mobile. The bacterial infections that surrounded his teeth were actually causing the teeth to become loose and ready to fall out. So his gums were diseased.
Chris, we're going to need to take a break now. I want to finish that story on the other side of this commercial break,
okay,
all right?
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Chris Rosgen. He is the founder, CEO, Capital Markets Luminary, publisher of Capital Markets Report, and capitalmarketreport.com is where you'll find him. On the other side of this, we're going to finish the conversation we just had and drill down deeper into this topic.
from the North Texas Traffic Center in Dallas. We did have an accident, 635 LBJ Freeway westbound at Plano Road, but that has just recently cleared up. Still seeing a little bit of a delay in that area, and we did have a problem out in Bedford 183 in that express lane heading eastbound just before Brown Trail, but that is also cleared up as well. Still finding a bit of a slowdown out on 30 heading westbound between Dolphin Road and 35E. You're adding just about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm Heather Anderson with your KFXR traffic.
When life gets too loud, there's always music. Millions of songs, thousands of stations, one free app. iHeart Radio is that easy. Download the app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
Attention men and women, are you suffering from back pain, neck pain, or joint discomfort? Would you like to learn of a non-surgical solution? Call American Medfix at 972-591-6675. That number again, 972-591-6675 to receive free info on how you may qualify for natural creams that may provide you with the relief you are seeking. All products are 100% made in the USA. Call now, 972-591-6675 or visit AmericanMedfix.com.
The Garage is a business accelerator and investment fund looking for new ideas in technology, manufacturing, and consumer goods. Our 90-day intensive workshops, taught by entrepreneur mentors, are focused on one thing: helping you make money faster. Each week, you'll experience a class taught by successful entrepreneurs with the guidance of experienced mentors in your field. We get you to revenue faster and help you find investors when the time is right. To learn why we're different, go to workthegarage.com. That's workthegarage.com.
Are you keeping pace with the change in business development technology? Make the job of your sales team easier and lower cost. The world is moving to mobile apps. Digital publishing is the way of the future. For less than $90 a month, Cookie can create a professional mobile app for your company. If you don't have one now, you'll be left behind. Make marketing more powerful, more successful. Big results don't need big production and big costs anymore. Contact Cookie.com now. Cookie is the solution for you to create content live, easily, and fast to your own mobile applications. Cookie.com, Kooke.com.
Hi, I'm Jim LeCamp.
And I'm Pat Riddell, co-host of Money Sense at the Opening Bell.
Are you fed up with the endless, relentless arguments about bull market, bear market, trading range market, deflation, hyperinflation, and all the other chatter that leaves you on the sidelines, earning nothing, nada, zip?
Well, we have good news for you. There are opportunities in a highly uncertain environment like this if you know where to look. Let us help you. We'll show you how non-traditional investments can help you uncover uncommon returns.
Give us a call, 800-841-5388,
or log on to money-sense.com.
From the Mini Cooper Weather Center, today mostly sunny and warm, high of 85. Tonight fair skies, low of 63. This report is brought to you by the new Total Traffic app.
For times when you can't hear live traffic reports on your radio, download our new Total Traffic app. Get the simplest view of traffic conditions all around you. Available for iPhone and Android, the Total Traffic app is the easiest way to see the road ahead.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Media studios and broadcasting worldwide through yorbamedia.com. I'm joined by Chris Rosgen. He's a founder, CEO, Capital Markets Luminary, publisher of Capital Markets Report, capitalmarketsreport.com. All right, Chris, we were just starting to get into the story that really brings home the effectiveness of this tool and the way that we're going to revolutionize, or this company BioLace is going to revolutionize the way healthcare is worked with.
Absolutely. So we left off talking about substandard care in dentistry, and I want to point out a prime example, which is actually quite shocking to me, because it's essentially a roll of the dice in terms of, a doctor referral, and patients don't have this information readily available. So patients have to become their own advocate in terms of having knowledge of what is the best quality of care that they can receive. So Waterlays, in terms of my research, is exactly that. It's a cornerstone medical device. So we left off talking about one of my largest institutional investors in BioLace, who actually happens to be a dental medical doctor. He sought out one of the top oral surgeons in the industry, and this oral surgeon looked at his degenerative gum disorder and said, "I'm sorry, the diagnosis is you have a bad case of gum disease, periodontist, and it's degenerative. So what that meant was his gum line was receding and he was becoming long in the tooth. You've heard that expression before. It essentially means that gum line is receding. And eventually that person is going to have bone loss and the tooth becomes mobile. So that's when the teeth start to fall out. So the diagnosis and the treatment option that was given to him from one of the top oral surgeons was to extract all of his teeth, to give him a gum amputation, or what they call a gingivectomy, and then to do implants and anchor them into the remaining bone. If it's not treated, it will actually, it's going to kill you because the oral systemic connection to disease is there. Diabetes, heart disease, fetal development issues, Alzheimer's. We're talking about dental plaques and bacterium. They're also now studying the bacterium in our mouth, and they're seeing that it's linked to cancer. Now, fortunately for this doctor, he was aware of Waterlase technology. He sought out a Waterlase practitioner. He was able to save all of his teeth. To this day, he credits Waterlase technology for preventing that gingivectomy.
How can people in our audience seek out Waterlase?
Waterlase can be found at biolase.com. You can actually utilize the website or contact the company to find a Waterlase dentist in your area.
There you go.
And again, unfortunately, there's only 5% of the dentists that are the early adopters that are using the technology. But what I think is most important today to talk about is how do we reduce risks of cross-contamination at the dental office.
Right.
So again, I started the interview with 15% of sterilized burrs and up to 76% of the sterilized endodontic files carry pathogenic microorganisms. Well, with Waterlase, it's virtually impossible to have cross-contamination because the Waterlase tip cannot physically harbor any debris or bacteria like an abrasive surface of a burr or a file. The laser energy has been shown to have bactericidal effects in root canals. It's also antivirucidal. The Waterlase tips do not require any contact with the teeth to cut tissue, unlike dental drills, which actually rely on constant contact to remove the tooth structure. And they're single-use disposable tips versus burrs and endodontic files that may be reused on multiple patients. So that's where the risk of cross-contamination occurs. This virtually eliminates accidental sticks or possible that are possible while handling contaminated burrs. And last year there was an oral surgeon that actually infected up to 6,000 patients from unsterilized dental instruments. 6,000 patients had to be tested for hepatitis and HIV. So all of this is documented.
I was just talking about this with a friend of mine yesterday, and they're saying everything is disposable in the dentist's office these days. And you're saying, wait a minute, that's actually not really the case. That you can actually this transmission from one patient to the next of these communicable diseases is more prevalent than most people think. Is that what I'm getting from you?
This is correct. Autoclaving can actually fail to completely decontaminate these burrs. They are using them over and over. If anything, they should do is they should have single-use disposable burrs, or they should use Waterlase technology. Waterlase technology will provide a better root canal because a lot of the actual problems that people face from root canal failure is related to the bacteria underneath that they can't get to. Waterlase kills it. So it helps the body to heal. And it's actually quite fascinating. If it can do that in the mouth with chronic inflammation, you can imagine what it's going to do in wound care.
Mm-hmm. I can. You've got another report here on your research. It's from the International American Association of Dental Research.
Yes.
Drill down into that for everybody.
So with reference to the oral systemic connection, again, this is a new standard of care. It's preventative medicine, and it's a cornerstone medical device. What people don't realize is if we're trying to eradicate periodontal disease, this is the technology that can do it. And again, periodontal disease, 8 out of 10 of us have this. Well, how do you define it? If you're blunt, if your gums are bleeding, you've got periodontal disease. That means there's bacteria in the deep part of your underlying gums and tissue that you're not properly getting out. You're maybe not flossing regularly. You're maybe not using the water pick or hydrofloss to remove that bacterium, and it eventually causes inflammation, and the plaques start to form, and we're learning that the plaques are creating Alzheimer's in our older heart. That's what causes atherosclerosis and heart disease. So here's a technology that can actually reverse the effects of periodontal disease and actually regenerate the bone and regenerate the gum tissue. So this is something that they're researching now to develop protocols to eliminate periodontal disease.
Now, with such breakthrough technology with BioLays, let's talk, if we can, about the balance sheet side, the milestones, the look ahead, what you know about this company going forward. From somebody who's now, we know about the healthcare part. I mean, this is obvious. What about the business side of this?
So the business side has actually been challenging for BioLays. It's funny to me, some of the things that people want to invest in. I'm looking for the disruptives. I have a long-term outlook.
Right.
BioLays has been focused predominantly in dentistry and periodontistry and developing therapies and developing protocols to treat periodontal disease. So it's actually a battle with an industry that I believe is a malpractice suit away, and also maybe a CBS 60 Minutes expose in terms of substandard dental care from this becoming a new standard. I believe patients need to demand this Waterlays technology. So part of my effort is to help this company to advance the new standard of care. They haven't been able to show consistent profitability because they're still battling an industry that it has not embraced this technology,
right,
because they're so set in their ways with their dental drills and scalpels.
That's exactly when an investor wants to start looking at it, when things are tough in the company, yet they've got a product that's going to be just pervasive. We've got about a minute left on this last segment here. Let's do this. Let's get contact information out so that people, whether they want to contact their dentist or their physician to use the technology, or they want to contact their investment advisor.
So biolays.com. If they want to find a dentist, contact the company directly or visit waterlays.com, and you should be able to pull up on their website by zip code where Waterlays practitioners are. And then in terms of subscribing to my research, please visit capitalmarketreport.com and just go ahead and subscribe right there for free. The research is available to patients, doctors, as well as investors.
Great. Chris, thanks so much for being on the show. Appreciate this.
My pleasure.
All right. Chris Rosgen, he is a founder, CEO, capital markets luminary, and publisher of Capital Market Report, capitalmarketreport.com. And special thanks to 1-800-PublicRelations.com for all their PR and media support. Stick with us. We'll be right back with Jose Jefferson, Executive Director, College Gridiron Showcase. And we're going to talk about the All-Star Game coming up.